Welcome guys, today we're talking about the heated moment on CNN's Newsnight with Abby Phillip, where Congressman Dan Goldman sparked major controversy after accusing mask-wearing ICE officers of attacking protesters and describing their actions as Gestapo-like, a comment that even left Abby Phillip visibly stunned on air.
The way these lawsuits, and we've seen now at least 4 of them, right? California, Oregon, Illinois will be heard tomorrow, D.C., they are going to be decided based on the realities on the ground. And essentially, if I can sort of boil down what the various decisions have been, is that we, the federal courts, are going to give the president deference. In fact, great deference. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt about if he says there's an emergency necessitating National Guard or other military. However, he can't just make it up. He can't just send military or other troops into a situation where there is no genuine threat to federal assets, federal resources. And the reason we're getting different results, I mean, California, he was allowed to deploy. So far, he's been blocked in Oregon. We'll learn tomorrow probably about Illinois, is because you have different facts on the street. So analysis of the kind of video we just looked at, testimony from people on the streets, that's what's going to be make or break in these lawsuits.
So, Congressman, I'm going to play, this is an interview with the border chief, Greg Bovino. He was talking to our colleague, Priscilla Alvarez, about when they decide to stop people. And here's what he said.
Perhaps you look panicked when you see a Border Patrol agent. Perhaps you look scared. Perhaps your demeanor changes. Perhaps you're gripping the steering wheel so tightly that I can see the whites of your knuckles. There's a myriad of factors that we would look at to develop articulable facts for reasonable suspicion.
So if you're scared, apparently that is, according to him, reason for them to arrest, detain, whatever. I mean, what do you think when you hear that?
Well, you have to add in the fact that many of these ICE agents are masked, they're plain clothes, they're unidentified, and they're violent. So, yes, people are going to be scared because you have these unidentified masked agents who are screaming and violent and using excessive force a lot. So naturally, you're going to be scared. And we're seeing it all over the country. We're seeing it here in New York, where an ICE agent shoved a woman to the ground who was lamenting the fact that her husband had been taken. By the way, both of them were here with an asylum application ongoing. So that is a lawful pathway to get here. He was originally suspended and then was reinstated for some undetermined reason. Okay. This is going on all over the country. It is excessive, and the American people recognize that we can have a robust immigration enforcement system without this kind of violence.
That's absolute crap.
And without
I'm going to jump in on that and say
police,
that's absolutely not true.
Mafioso.
You just criminalized the law enforcement. You just pretended there for a moment that for some reason the law enforcement is the only one who's masked and violent. And the protesters are showing up and blocking ICE vehicles and raining bricks down on their roof and wearing masks themselves and being thugs to the media for that case. I mean, why aren't we caring about the media who are being attacked? The reality is, the boots on the ground, the troops, the boots on the ground, the troops, the law enforcement, they are the ones who deserve deference in this, not the protesters. And I think what the American people are really sick of is the idea that Antifa and thugs and people who want to protest the police and paid agitators who come from out of state, they can show up and do whatever they want, and that people will go on the air and say, you know, the law enforcement really needs to calm down. No, how about this? Protesters stop showing up with masks on. Protesters stop showing up and attacking.
We just saw a video where they were doing nothing.
Do protesters need to not be masked, but ICE agents can be masked?
Well, ICE agents have to be masked because they're being
ICE agents do not have to be masked.
They're not being
ICE agents do not have
to protect their safety.
Hold on a second. There are ICE agents. I watch a lot of these videos, okay? There are some that are masked and some that are not. So clearly, even within the same group of ICE agents that are conducting the same operation, some choose to go masked and some don't. They don't have to be masked. But my question is a lot simpler. Is it okay for protesters to be masked if ICE agents are masked? Is it?
Is it okay for protesters to be
Yeah.
masked? If they want to wear a mask, it's fine, but why are we complaining about the police? That's my point.
Well, we're
'Cause we're in a
complaining about them being
democracy.
masked.
My point
Listen,
is,
We don't have secret
if there are
policing.
apps that are being created, Abby, and that's the thing, there are apps that are being created that are the sole purpose is to dox ICE agents, and there are people showing up at their houses, and there are families
Listen,
being threatened. Why would we
I think
not?
all of that is terrible.
Do
But
you know this
want-
for a fact? Because
I do
keep
know this for a
hearing
fact.
this.
I do
have
know
not
this for a
seen
fact.
ICE. They
you're
keep
ignoring the
talking
facts.
about 1,000% upswing and all this stuff. I haven't seen examples.
We just
of
had
that.
shootings in Dallas and Alvarado, Texas at ICE facilities. You remember
Absolutely.
that, right? That
And
was actually people
I
died.
was very quick to condemn that. That's unacceptable, and those people should.
That's a clear example of what we're talking
there
about.
have been attacks on ICE facilities.
There have.
It's important to note that. But I mean, what we were talking about before we got to this point was about their interaction in these stops, right? And the question actually to Bovino was about whether they were profiling people, whether they were just looking at people and saying, oh, you look Mexican, I'm going to stop. You look Mexican and you're scared. I'm going to stop you. And I think that's the question that a lot of people are wondering right now is that where we are as a country where you can just stop, not only stop people, but detain them, take away their liberty for any period of time just because of the way that they look?
No, we have enough evidence, though, brother, that there has been racial profiling, especially for precious Latino brothers and sisters who are legal citizens. That's the kind of terror that's unwarranted, and we've got to be concerned about the arbitrary use of power, especially from it when it's above. Now, we're not talking about demonizing any police or demonizing ICE. Now, I ran for president and I was trying to abolish ICE because I thought, in fact, that we ought to be able to relate to each other in such a way that we could talk about the rights and liberties of law enforcement, rights and liberties of citizens, because that's the only way you're going to have some mechanisms of accountability to keep what's left of the democracy alive.
Goldman's remarks came as others on the panel argued that members of the National Guard were being unfairly vilified, pointing out that many had actually come under attack from violent protesters. This echoed federal reports of assaults against officers and damage to ICE and Border Patrol vehicles in cities like Chicago, where several agents were hospitalized. The fiery exchange captured the deepening divide between critics of federal immigration enforcement and those who see agents as defenders of law and order, a clash heightened by President Donald Trump's decision to deploy federal forces to restore control in unrest-hit cities.